Everyone, good evening to everyone. Today we will read Plumbum Metallicum. So, if you are talking about the Plumbum Metallicum, then can anyone tell me who has proved this medicine? Can anyone tell me? This medicine is proved by Dr. Trinks Herring, and this medicine is commonly known as lead, and this medicine is belonging to the which class? This is belonging to the class 7. But if you're talking about prover, Dr. Herring is also there. But can anyone tell me Dr. Herring has proved so many medicine? Can anyone tell me the medicine? Which medicine proved by Dr. Herring? And very good. And there are so many medicines like Assis mutus, Allium cepa, Lycinum. Very good. And Crotellus horridus is also there. But can anyone tell me the medicine which is proved by डॉक्टर नेनिंग? नेनिंग ने कौन सा मेडिसिन प्रूव किया? कोई बताएगा? Very good, Soumya. Ethuja synepium is the medicine which is proved by Dr. Nenning. So let's talk about the symptoms of plumbum metallicum. Adopted to the diseases from spinal origin. You can see in the picture there is a spinal cord and there are parts of the spinal cord. Suppose if the person is coming to you and he is having any problem which is especially originated from a spinal cord, like here we can correlate with the practice of medicine. What are the disease condition which is related with the spinal cord? Can anyone tell me? There are so many diseases like muscular dystrophy is there, diabetes mellitus is there, ankylosing spondylitis is there, and spondylitis is also there. Hello. So I was talking about the muscular dystrophy, diabetes mellitus, ankylosing spondylitis. These are the diseases which is related with and which is originated from the spinal cord. But if the person is coming to you and these patients are having this type of diseases and the symptoms is very similar to the plumbum metallicum, then we can think of plumbum metallicum. But can anyone tell me what are the investigation we will advise to the patient of ankylosing spondylitis? यदि अगर ankylosing spondylitis का patient आता है, then what investigation we will suggest to the patient? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me? X-ray and MRI is also there, but the most specific investigation is MRI, magnetic resonance image. And but can anyone tell me the characteristic finding of the ankylosing spondylitis? अगर वो मिलता है, then we can say this is the case of ankylosing spondylitis. Can anyone tell me the characteristic symptoms of ankylosing spondylitis? What word? Pardon? Yes, there is a fusion of bones. That condition is known as bamboo spine or railway track spine. This is the characteristic feature of ankylosing spondylitis. Okay, very nice. We will talk about the another symptoms. We have already said spinal cord origin. So I have told muscular dystrophy. So here a muscular atrophy is there from the sclerosis of spinal system. So you can see in the picture, there are two pictures. In the first picture you can see there is a deltoid muscle which is very active, which is healthy. But in the second picture you can see there is a atrophy. Atrophy का मतलब छोटा हो जाना. There will be a, what is atrophy? Can anyone tell me? What is the meaning of atrophy? कोई बताएगा? I was talking about the atrophy. Can anyone tell me the meaning of atrophy? Atrophy. Yes, very good. Atrophy. So atrophy. Atrophy is related to the pathology where there is a, where there is a decrease number of the cell size. But can anyone tell me, if you are talking about the atrophy, then can anyone tell me about the hypertrophy? What is hypertrophy? Very good. In case of hypertrophy, there, very good, excellent. In case of hypertrophy, there is a increased number of the cell size. But can anyone tell me about the hyperplasia? What is hyperplasia? Yes, very good. There will be increased number of cell. But what is dysplasia? In case of dysplasia, there will be a growth of new cells that is known as a dysplasia. So muscular atrophy from the sclerosis of the spinal system means those person who are having problem with the spinal cord and the person or the patient is suffering from the multiple sclerosis, they are having a muscle atrophy. In that condition, we can also think of plumbum metallicum. Another symptoms, there is a slow of perception. Means if you are talking about the perception of the plumbum metallicum, that is very slow. He cannot recognize very quickly. You can see in the picture. There are two person, but in actual there are three things. One is saying 4, one is saying 3, because there is a perception on the perception is depend on the individual, and there is an intellectual torpor. What is the meaning of intellectual torpor? That means a state of being a lethargy either mentally or physically, which is increasing gradually. But if the patient is having fever and we are finding same type of symptoms, means there will be a slow perception, there is an intellectual torpor which is increasing gradually apathy, especially when the patient is having fever. Then the medicine is phosphoric acid. Okay. Another symptoms, there is a weakness or loss of memory, unable to find the proper word. Why the patient is having weakness or loss of memory? Because there is an involvement of two things. Either the patient is suffering from a liver problem like cirrhosis of liver. If the patient is suffering from cirrhosis of liver किसकी वजह से होता है? Generally increase or craving for the alcohol is there. for the patient. अगर बहुत ज़्यादा कोई अल्कोहल ड्रिंक करता है since so many years, then he may suffer from the cirrhosis of liver. But अगर sudden withdrawal होता है, then there may be a development of delirium tremens. So क्या होगा? Confusion होगा उसको, irritation होगा, and he is not able to judge a proper things. And second things हो सकता है, like there is a problem with the spinal cord, so there will be a weakness of memory or loss of memory. So he cannot find the right word for the right things, means unable to find the proper word. Means like how he will say, if he want to ask, like उसको पूछना है तुमने खाना खाया, फिर he cannot say like that. या तो वो कहेगा तुमने पाया, तुमने पाया. He cannot find the proper word, cannot find the exact word. What word we can use? Exact तो होता है कि तुमने खाना खाया, but he cannot say like that because he is not getting the proper word. But here a weakness or loss of memory, then we can correlate or compare with the another medicine like syphilinum. In case of syphilinum, there is a loss of memory. There will be a loss of memory in case of syphilinum, but there is a problem, especially arithmetical calculation. Means if you will provide a math to a syphilitic patient, आप मैथ का क्वेश्चन दे दो सिफिलिटिक पेशेंट को या सिफिलिनम पेशेंट को, ही कैन नॉट एबल टू सॉल्व. अगर उसको बोल दो कि 3 - 2 कितना होता है, ही विल नॉट एबल टू आंसर बिकॉज देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम विद द अरिथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशन. दैट इज सिफिलिनम पेशेंट. सिफिलिनम पेशेंट को मैथ में बहुत ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होता है. बट if you are talking about the memory, a loss of memory, then we can talk about the medorinum. What is medorinum? Medorinum, in case of medorinum, there is a region constantly loses the thread of conversation. What is the meaning of that line? That is the meaning of that line means when the patient is talking, then he will forget what I was saying, what I was teaching. Can anyone tell me what I was saying? I cannot recognize. मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा क्या मैं बता रहा था. कोई बता सकता है? Because patient will say like that because there is written constantly loses the thread of conversation. This is the meaning of the line. But here again we can compare with the anacardium oriental, which is commonly known as a marking nut. But in case of anacardium, what is mentioned? There is a sudden loss of memory. Sudden loss of memory. So he will be not able to fit for the business. Means unfit for the business. Means अगर कुछ कर रहा है, अरे मैंने कहाँ सामान रख दिया. He will forget where I have put sorry, where I have kept the things. He will forget because there is mentioned sudden loss of memory. But again we can compare with the nux moschata. What is mentioned in nux moschata? There is mentioned a vanishing of thought. Vanishing of thought is mentioned there. Means nothing in the mind, nothing comes in the mind, everything has gone. कुछ भी दिमाग में नहीं है. क्या बात कर रहा था, क्या कर रहा था, कुछ भी इसको ध्यान नहीं है. That is a nux moschata. But again we can correlate or compare with the Dulcamara, which is commonly known as bittersweet. So what is mentioned in Dulcamara? There is mentioned cannot find the right word for the anything. कैन नॉट फाइंड राइट वर्ड फॉर द एनीथिंग, मीन्स कुछ भी किसी भी चीज के लिए उसको प्रॉपर वर्ड ही नहीं मिलेगा, मतलब राइट वर्ड ही नहीं मिलेगा. सो व्हाट इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन डलकामारा एंड प्लम्बम मेटेलिकम? प्लम्बम मेटेलिकम में जनरली वीकनेस ऑफ मेमोरी होता है, एंड स्पेशली द डिजीज विच इज रिलेटेड और विच इज ओरिजिनेटेड with the spinal origin. No, I think someone has asked ki, sir. Yes, very good, Money. When the medullarium patient is lying on the bed, he will be lying on the abdomen because the patient feels better, much better. Medullarium patient. This is the very good characteristic symptoms of the medullarium. If you're talking about the characteristic symptoms, then again we can correlate with the organon of medicine with aphorism number 153, 153. What is mentioned there? What Dr. Hahnemann has mentioned. There is mention about the peculiaris, peculiar, striking, most singular, uncommon, peculiar symptoms, characteristic symptoms, which is mentioned in aphorism number 153. While we used to prescribe the medicine, then we have to keep in our mind about the organon of medicine what Dr. Hahnemann has said. Okay. So lying on abdomen, if you are talking about lying on abdomen, so can anyone tell me the another medicine? The patient will lying on the abdomen. In case of acetic acid, the patient is lying on abdomen or back. Can anyone tell me? Back. Very good. Acetic acid patient used to lie on back. Okay. But in case of lachesis and ammonium carb, the patient will lying on the abdomen. And lying on back, there are two medicine, acetic acid and arsenic album is also there. Another symptoms. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think it's depend upon the author. Na? Someone has proved and he got the same symptoms, and someone has proved the medicine and he got the another symptoms. There is a controversy also. Okay. So we will consider the hearing one. Okay. Okay. So another symptoms complexion, pale ash colored, yellow, coughs like, cheeks sunken, expressive of great anxiety and suffering. Means if you are talking about the complexion of the patient, how the patient is looking, then there is a pale colored. Pale colored means what? There will be a lacking of hemoglobin, so there will be a paleness. While the patient is having jaundice, if you have seen the jaundice patient, then you can understand the paleness of face. पीला पीला दिखेगा. And coughs like means it will look like a dead body. Dead body हो जाती है तो क्या होता है, उनके blood circulation stop हो जाते हैं, so उनके body पे भी pale pale दिखता है. And there is expressive of great anxiety and suffering. Means when the patient is suffering from any kind of depression, then you will able to recognize by looking his face, by observing his face. So here we can correlate or compare with the aconite nepalus. In case of aconite, what is written there? There is written, the countenance is expressive of fear, the life is rendered, the patient will predict the day he will die during pregnancy. Means the fear is so much, which is very expressive through his face. अगर आप एकोनाइट पेशेंट को देख लो तो इतना डर होता है. वाई देयर इज फियर? बिकॉज द पेशेंट विल से, डॉक्टर साहब আমি মরে যাব. but the patient will say, I will die on the certain date. Predict, he will predict. एकदम पार्टिकुलर डे तो वो बताएगा कि डॉक्टर साहब 31 अक्टूबर को आई विल डाई. That's why there is a fear, there is anxiety. That's why there is a fear which is expressed by the face. But if the physician will observe the face of these patient like plumbum patient and aconite patient, then the physician will understand there is a fever. But if you are talking about observation, then can anyone tell me where it is mentioned in organ of medicine? किस एफोरिज्म में मेंशन है ऑब्जर्वेशन? Pardon? Dr. Handman has said about the observation where it is mentioned in the organon of medicine. Organon of medicine में observation कहाँ दिया हुआ है? No, in case of sixth aphorism, there is a unprejudiced observer. Okay, that means there should not be a bias. But I am talking about the observation which is given in aphorism number 91. Okay, 91. But what you have said, that is right, unprejudiced observer which is mentioned in aphorism number 6. ओके बट वहां पे अलग क्राइटेरिया होता है. अब अनप्रिजुडाइज्ड ऑब्जर्वर की बात हो रहा है तो 3 क्राइटेरिया जाते हैं. क्या क्या क्राइटेरिया जाते हैं अनप्रिजुडाइज्ड ऑब्जर्वर के अंदर? 3 क्राइटेरिया. फेल्ड बाय द पेशेंट, ऑब्जर्व बाय द फिजिशियन एंड पेशेंट अराउंड हिम. ओके, जो उनके चारों तरफ होते हैं उनसे 3 क्राइटेरिया होते हैं. ओके, सो अगेन कम बैक टू द plumbum metallicum. Skin of face is greasy and shiny. You can see in the picture there is a shiny face. Hello, am I audible to everyone? Okay, so I was talking about the skin of face which is greasy and shiny. There are 2 more medicine in the bracket. There is a natramur and sanicula is also there. So if the patient is coming to you and if you are looking over the face and you are finding there is a shiny face or greasy face, then we can say there are 3 medicine for the shiny or greasy face. One is plumbum metallicum, another is natramur, another is sanicula. But can anyone tell me if there is a sweating on the upper lip? Can anyone tell me the medicine? Sweating on the upper lip. अगर किसी को पसीना अपर लिप पे आता है तो क्या मेडिसिन होंगी? कोई बताएगा? There are 2 medicine. One is pulsatilla, another is tuberculinum. There are 2 medicine. Another is, tell me. No, in case of ignacia there is a sweating on the forehead, especially the patient is eating food. जब ignacia patient खाना खाता है, so there will be a sweating on the forehead, not on the upper lip. I am asking about the sweating on the upper lip. लेकिन अगर forehead पे होता है while the patient is eating food, then the answer will be ignacia amara, which is also known as Saint Ignatius bean. Okay. But can anyone tell me the sweating on the half of the face? There are 2 medicine. Sweating on the half of the face. आधे फेस पे उसको स्वेटिंग हो रहा, आधे में ड्राई होगा, आधे में स्वेटिंग होगा. कोई बताएगा क्या और मेडिसिन है? There are 2 medicine. One is pulsatilla and another is ambra gricia. But if you are talking about sweating, then we can talk about hot perspiration. Hot perspiration किस medicine में होता है? In which medicine there is a hot perspiration? Hot perspiration. Can anyone tell me? Opium, very good. And lachesis, very good. Lachesis and opium is also there. But if you are talking about hot perspiration, then why we should not talk about cold perspiration? So can anyone tell me the medicine for the cold perspiration? Very good. Veratrum album and sepia tabacum and camphor, very good. And carbovaze and very good, and calcarea carb and valeriana is also there. Carbolic acid is also there, which are having a cold sweating. But cold sweating, okay. But if you are talking about sweating, then we should talk about the yellow sweating. Yellow color of sweating किस medicine में होता है? Can anyone tell me? Yellow staining, yellow sweating, yellow color of sweating. That is, no, in case of pulsatilla and natron sulf, something different. That the medicine is where? Natron sulf. Yes, but there is a discharges like yellowish greens, but not about the sweating. If there is a asking about greenish yellow discharge, then your answer will be pulsatilla, Kali sulf, natrum sulf. But if there is a only yellow color of sweat, then the medicine is lachesis. देखिए येलो कलर तो हो रहा है, लेकिन ब्लडी स्वेट किस में होता है? कौन कौन से मेडिसिन में? ब्लडी स्वेट, ऐसा लगता है कि खून निकल रहा हो उसके बॉडी से, ऐसा होता है पसीना उसको। कौन सी मेडिसिन है ब्लडी स्वेट के लिए? लाइको, वेरी गुड। एंड व्हाट? Lyco, lachesis is also there, Crotellus horridus is also there. Three medicine where there is mention about the bloody sweat. Okay. So we will talk about the another symptoms. Excessive pain in abdomen radiating to the all parts of the body. Why there is pain? Because a patient might be suffering from the cirrhosis of liver, because the patient is having a history of alcohol. That's why there is a delirium tremens, which is mentioned in Plumbum METLLICUM. If the patient is suffering from cirrhosis of liver, so there will be a excessive pain in the abdomen. A intensity of pain is so much in case of Plumbum METLLICUM, which is radiating to the all parts of the body. That is a plumbum patient. But the patient is having sensation abdomen at night, which is causing patient to stress violently for hours. Must stress in every direction. Why the patient will stress? Because the patient is having intense pain or highly excessive pain is there. That's why the patient is trying to stress for the hours. So the patient will get relief. The patient is thinking like that. उसको लगता है कि वो काफी देर तक अगर स्ट्रेच करता है तो पेशेंट को आराम मिलेगा, बट ऐसा नहीं होता है। उसको जनरली क्या होता है प्लम्बम पेशेंट को? The plumbum patient will get relief by the hard pressure. If you are talking about hard pressure, so can anyone tell me the relief by hard pressure? Can anyone tell me the another medicine relief by hard pressure? क्या क्या मेडिसिन है? Very good. Okay, very good. Brania alba, magnesium, phos, plumbum, metallicum is there, and mag phos is also there. Cinchona officinalis is there. Sternum metallicum is also there, which is getting relieved by heart pressure. One more medicine is there, that is colocynth. But in case of colocynth, what is difference between the others? In case of colocynth, there is written agonizing pain. Agonizing pain means what? Intolerable pain, which is can't be tolerated by the patient. If there is so much pain, so the patient will causing bend double. So क्या होगा? Bending double हो जाएगा. Bending double, which is relieved by heart pressure. Bending double से भी आराम मिलता है. In case of colocynth, if you are talking about the bending double, so can anyone tell me the patient which is getting relief by bending backward? Bending backward से आराम मिलता है उसको, कौन सा पेशेंट है? डायस्कोरिया, नॉट आर्सेनिक. आर्सेनिक में तो लेटता है ना, वो सोता है, बट बेंडिंग बैकवर्ड, कमर पीछे की तरफ झुका लेगा तो उसको आराम मिलता है. दैट इज डायस्कोरिया. कैन एनीवन टेल मी द अनदर मेडिसिन which is relieved by bending backward? Diascoria to everybody knows. Can anyone tell me the another medicine? That is Cahinca, Cahinca, which is mentioned in Boric Materia Medica. Okay, there are two medicine which is relieved by bending backward. But if you are talking about the bending backward, then again we can correlate with the Zincum metallicum. In case of Zincum metallicum, what is mentioned there? Can only void a urine while bending backwards. पेशेंट क्या होता है, जो जिंकम मेटेलिकम का पेशेंट जो होता है, ही कैन नॉट पास द यूरिन व्हाइल ही इज स्टैंडिंग. जब तक वो पीछे नहीं झुकेगा, when the patient is bending back, then he can pass the urine. That is a Zincum metallicum patient. Again we can correlate with the or compare with the Medorinum. In case of Medorinum, a Medorinum patient cannot pass the stool until unless he will leaning for back. जब तक वो पीछे ना झुक जाएगा तब तक वो पास ही नहीं कर सकता है. मीन्स stool can pass by the patient while leaning very far back of the Medorinum patient. पीछे झुक के लैट्रिन पास करता है. But in case of natrum sulph, what is mentioned there? When the patient is putting feet in the morning, then there will be a passing of stool. Similarly, symptom which is also mentioned in causticum, there is mentioned when the patient is standing, then he can pass the stool. Means a stool can pass while the patient is standing. Okay, again come back to the plumbum metallicum. Intussusception with the colic and fecal vomiting. What do you mean by the intussusception? Can anyone tell me the meaning of intussusception? In, intussusception means there will be a obstruction in the intestine. क्या होता है, इंटेस्टाइन के अंदर ही इंटेस्टाइन घुस जाता है. That is obstruction. If there will be obstruction, so there will be a fecal vomiting. मतलब क्या होगा, नीचे से तो पास नहीं हो सकता. He cannot pass the stool through the anus, so there will be a vomiting. तो क्या होगा, जो हमारे इंटेस्टाइन में जो फूड होगा वो आ जाएगा, fecal matter बाहर आ जाता है through the mouth. That is known as a fecal vomiting. And another, there is a strangulated hernia and femoral and inguinal or umbilical hernia will be there. These are the cases where there will be obstruction. If you are finding this type of case, then we can think of a plumbum metallicum. Another symptoms, violent colic sensation as if abdominal wall was drawn by a string to the spine. You can see in this picture, the intensity of pain is so much, the patient think that कि जैसे लगता तार से, वायर से उसको बांध दिया गया हो, ड्रॉन कर रहा है, खींच रहा है, ऐसा लगता है. The patient is thinking that. This is what the peculiarity of plumbum metallicum. Other symptoms, yellowish skin and dark brown liver spot or climateric jaundice, the eyes, skin and urine yellow. What I have already said, a patient might be suffering from cirrhosis of liver. If the patient is suffering from cirrhosis of liver, then he will be having a jaundice. If there will be a jaundice, so there will be a paleness or yellow discoloration of conjunctiva. Also, there will be a paleness of the face. If the patient is having problem with the liver, so there will be a liver spot. Liver spot का मतलब क्या होता है? There will be a brown spot over the face. You can see in the picture. But this type of symptoms, which is also found in case of sepia officinalis, which is commonly known as cuttle face. सो जनरली लोग क्या कहते हैं, क्लोआजमा होता है, क्लोआजमा की वजह से होता है, लेकिन लिवर स्पॉट्स भी होते हैं, स्पेशली व्हेन द पेशेंट इज सफरिंग फ्रॉम सिरोसिस ऑफ लिवर or jaundice. Okay, another symptoms, lead paralysis is chiefly of extensor, forearm or upper limb from the center to periphery with partial anesthesia and excessive hyperesthesia preceded by a pain. You can see in the picture, there is a paralysis of extensor group of muscle. Extensor carpi radialis, extensor carpi ulnaris. These are the muscle of forearm, especially extensor group of muscle. You can see in the picture. Extensor group of muscle is get paralyzed, which is starting from the center to periphery. मतलब chest से start होके forearm की तरफ जाता है, center to periphery. But there will be a two condition, either low anesthesia or either hyperesthesia will be there, means hypersensation will be there. But if there will be hypersensation, then it will be associated with the pain. दर्द होगा उसको, पैरालिसिस तो होगा, वहां हाइपरेस्थिसिया भी होगा, लेकिन उसके साथ बहुत ज्यादा दर्द होगा. Another symptoms, gum swelling, pale, distinct blue lines along the margins of gum. बट इस कंडीशन को क्या कहते हैं, कोई बताएगा? इसका नाम होता है ब्लू लाइंस ओवर द गम. कैन एनीवन टेल मी व्हाट वी विल से इट? उसका नाम होता है here, which is mentioned in forensic medicine and toxicology. If we have read in the second year forensic medicine, there is a late tox. What? Pardon? Pardon? Okay, so there will be a condition that is known as Bartolian line. Another symptoms, fear of being assassinated. Fear of being assassinated का मतलब क्या? उसको डर लगता है कि someone will kill, serial killer की तरह उसके thoughts आते हैं. And that condition is known as anisophobia, a fear of being a murdered or serial killer. That is a plumbum metallicum. Another symptoms, anus drawn off with the constriction. Why there will be an anus drawn off with the constriction? Where? Because there may be a paralysis of rectum. That's why there will be a constriction. Another symptoms, chronic interstitial nephritis with the great pain in abdomen. What is the meaning of chronic interstitial nephritis? Means there will be a problem with the nephron, where there will be a changes of sodium, potassium electrolytes. So there will be a problem, and the patient may be suffer from the chronic renal failure. At that time, there will be a pain in the abdomen. Another symptoms, pain in right big toe at night, very sensitive to touch. Means there will be a pain especially at the great toe. If you are talking about the pain at the great toe, then we can correlate with the disease condition, especially practice of medicine. Like gout is the condition where we will find a pain especially about the great toe. And there is a sudden loss of sight after fainting. When the patient is fainting, so there will be a blurring of vision, or there will be a loss of sight. He cannot see, or he is unable to see. Another symptoms, loss of patellar reflex. If there is a loss of patellar reflex, what we have read in the first year physiology. So if there is a loss of patellar reflex, so can anyone tell me in which disease condition we will find loss of patellar reflex? कोई बताएगा मेडिसिन से कोरिलेट करके, प्रैक्टिस ऑफ मेडिसिन से? There are 2 to 3 condition, or there are so many condition, but I am going to discuss about the 2 to 3 condition. Like diabetes mellitus is there, ankylosing is there. These are the condition where we will find a loss of patellar reflex. Okay, thank you everyone. If there is any doubt, you can text me or you can tell me. And please tell me your reviews and feedback by texting on my WhatsApp number. Okay. Okay, thank you everyone. Good night. If there is any doubt, you can ask. Okay, so good night everyone. We'll end this meeting. हेलो, आ रही है आवाज? आ रही है आवाज?